football. They told me Brazil means football. And I didn't even know it was the World Cup, but one afternoon I just started hearing everyone screaming, and I was in an apartment building, and from all the surrounding buildings I just heard people like screaming and blowing trumpets and shouting. And so it's the World Cup and Brazil's playing. I was saying maybe everyone's watching the finals. I heard there's some big game or something going on.
Certainly there's some people.
And how is everybody? You're all camping, is it? It's okay? Yeah. Where are your tents?
They're up by the arena.
Aha, up here. Okay, cool. How many tents are there? Okay, nice. All right. So, what is Seva? Well, I feel like you who are here, you already know something about what Seva is. You've all been associating with our communities for some time now, and you're all very naturally inspired to do service. I can learn from you. When we were in San Jose the other day, Liam and Daniel, they just spontaneously volunteered to clean the deck. It was very dusty. And I thought, they can teach me something about what is Seva, so what can I tell you? But we can say something. And Seva means to connect with the essence. Because we hear about how wonderful Krishna consciousness is, we can hear the philosophy, and we find maybe can we close that door? We can find the philosophy to be very, very sound, to make very perfect sense. And we find such detail there. And also we find it to be something very attractive and very pleasing. Not only that it satisfies our brain, the Krishna conception, it satisfies our brain, but also it satisfies our heart. And so any normal thinking person, they will be attracted to this. But we don't just want to, appreciate that. We want to actually connect with it. And this is the magic of Seva, that it allows us. Jai, Shripad Bhakti Chandam Parvat Maharaj Ki Jai. You going to join us, Maharaj? Or you want a chair?
No. Let me just...
So this is the magic of Seva, that we can connect with this, whole wonderful reality here and now. Not that it has to be something very far away from us. We can hear about Krishna and Mahaprabhu and their wonderful associates and hear of all the wonderful things that can happen. But this is the wonderful thing about Seva, that it allows us to actually make a tangible connection with that plane. And so we can feel some touch of that. What is the final destination, the final revelation? That is no doubt very far away from us, but still we can get some touch of that.
Please excuse me, Vishakha.
Okay, Maharaj. But we can get some touch within our heart here and now. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he gave the example of one who's approaching in an empiric way, through their senses, their minds, their intellect, their senses. If they are approaching in that spirit, by that route, it is like a bee on a jar of honey, like a bumblebee resting on a glass, and inside there's honey. They're not tasting that honey, but they're seeing the honey. They can talk about the honey, they can describe the honey, and they're actually like so close to that honey, but they're not tasting it. So they're like so close, but so far. But seva, that is the thing that allows us to taste the sweetness. That is ultimately what we need and what we want, to taste the sweetness of our eternal life and the divine plane. And then, what is seva? No doubt, as you're all aware now, seva means service. But what does service actually mean? There's one conception of seva as just, doing good for others. There's one charity called the Seva Foundation, right? I think they're very well known, and I'm not sure exactly what they do. Maybe they do food distribution. Maybe someone can say better than me. But they're doing philanthropic work within society, and no doubt we can appreciate that. That is a noble thing. They're trying to do something good for humanity. But we ourselves, we will not classify that as seva proper. Because seva really means, in our terms, it means to connect with the current that is descending from the divine plane. Not any current that is emanating, that has its source within this worldly plane, within this temporary world. But to connect with, this whole world, it is a flickering world, and it is all based on misconception, misunderstanding, and false identification of self. That is the nature of this world. But we are interested in connecting with the eternal plane, with the eternal world. And so seva really means to connect with that descending current, not a current that has its source within this world, but with the current that is descending from above, that has no source, it has no origin within this worldly plane. And then seva means really to satisfy, to please a person who is holding that current, someone who is representing the divine current that is descending from above. To satisfy that person, to satisfy that higher will. That is really what seva means. That is what will help to awaken that soul person within us. Because the soul is there, but it is encrusted with so many layers. The false ego, the intellect, the mental system, then our physical body. So if we're like trying to satisfy a current coming through a person that is coming from their ego or their intellect or their mind, or based on some worldly conception, that's, then we're connecting our outer self with their outer self. So these crusts that are covering our soul, they're going to remain as they are, very comfortably. But if we want to really awaken that soul within us, then we have to connect with a higher current that is descending from the soul plane, or beyond that, the super soul plane. And in that way, our own soul will begin to awaken. And these outer coverings, these outer crusts, they will begin to dissolve. They'll begin to disintegrate, and that soul person will become stronger and stronger. And so this is the ultimate necessity of our lives, to offer ourselves to that higher current, that higher will that is descending from above. And that is Seva. And it can be very, very difficult, because in order to do that, in order to satisfy that higher will, that descending current, then sometimes we will have to follow that at the expense of other layers of ourself, like our false ego. So our false ego, some higher will may come to us trying to engage us in some service, and our false ego may find that this is a challenge. Our false ego may be screaming about this. So it can sometimes be painful. There may be some service necessity which is disturbing to our minds, to our intellect, to our false ego. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj, in one place he says, Seva means death. This is the real meaning of Seva, because it means in order to do real Seva, the false ego has to die. Our false conception of self, that I am an independent entity, I am I'm the center of reality, and so on and so forth. Or one of our devotees in Brazil, she's a upper middle class lady, and she has very professional job, and she speaks very good English, and she said that when she came to Krishna consciousness, then Trivikram Maharaj asked her to do some cleaning service. And she said when she was asked to do that, she became a little angry, because she was thinking, I'm like a qualified person. I can do some important service. I can translate, or I can help with publishing. And why are they asking me to clean the floors? What is this? And so it was a little difficult for her at first, but she accepted that, and she did it even though she was feeling some resistance, and gradually her mood changed, her heart changed, and she realized, that conception of myself, of being some important person, I should be doing some higher thing, that is a worldly idea. That is a worldly conception. Whatever conception we have of ourselves that has been drawn from this world, that is false. That I am this, or I'm in that, I am that, I have this position, I have that position. That is a false thing. And so this is the wonderful thing, is that when we get seva opportunities, then if we accept them, then it will disintegrate that ego that we have. The opportunity will come to us, and maybe immediately we will feel some resistance. But if nevertheless we try to overcome that, try to just do the seva, then we will become purified by that. We will become purified, and a brighter self will begin to arise within us. And our conception is that all service is divine service. Actually, our gurus, their vision is that all the service of Krishna, it is actually the service of Radharani, who is the supreme servitor of Krishna. How dignified is her position. So all the service of Krishna is actually her service. And it is our opportunity if we can be used as an instrument of some sorts. She's actually doing all the service, all of it, from the cooking and the cleaning and everything. It is all her service. And our prayer is to be used as some kind of an instrument in that service flow. And so ultimately we aspire to have some kind of a flexible attitude in service, that whatever may come, but the main point is that we want to be sure it is something descending from above, because many persons may suggest different things. We may also have different ideas, but ultimately if we really want to do real seva, we really want to connect with the divine plane, we really want to become purified and awaken to our true selves, then it's only that's only going to happen if we're really connecting with the higher current. And so we will have to develop some type of discrimination, and try to understand, is this suggestion of seva, is it really descending from a higher plane, or is it coming from somebody's false ego, or coming from my false ego, or so on and so forth. We want to connect with that higher current. And also another point about seva is that we need to learn how to do seva within an organic system. Not just that there's me and my service, but there's it's like there's a symphony that's going on. And everybody has their contribution to make, and everybody has their talent, everyone has their instrument that they're playing, and we have to learn how to do our service in a way that is also accommodating other persons. And so then we will have to make some adjustments sometimes. Because ultimately the world that we are entering, that we're aspiring to enter, the divine plane of dedication, this is the whole nature of that environment, that every person there, every person there they're all mutually assisting one another in their service to the center. It is not that each person is just seeing the center, seeing the highest entity and directing service there, but there's a very harmonious spirit of mutual assistance and mutual appreciation and support and so on and so forth. And so this is another great challenge that we will face, learning how we can do service in such a way that will not only please the highest object of our service, which will generally be our Gurudev or a higher devotee, Vaishnava. It will not be only that we'll perfectly do it for that person, but we will also be able to do it in such a way that accommodates others, that is supportive to others, that is not disturbing to others. And if we can develop more, it will be in such a way that will inspire others and include others also. The more developed we become, then the more influence and power inner spiritual power and strength will develop within us, so that we can inspire and include more and more servitors within our service arena, we can say. So that analogy of an orchestra Srila Sridhar Maharaj gives is very nice. If one person is playing the cartels too loudly, then it's gonna throw everybody else off, right? So we want to be in tune, see what's the beat, what's the rhythm, and see what's going on here in this kirtan. And we want to be able to not be an obnoxious person in that, but be harmonious and be cool, and be with the beat, be with the tune. we want to be able to participate in kirtan like that. And at the same time, we have to be able to tolerate, we have to have some magnanimity of heart so that we can tolerate persons who are playing the cartels too loudly. Or they're playing the mridanga like totally offbeat, you know. We can't just like, shout at them and get out of here. Like, I'm sorry, you can only enter this kirtan if you've been practicing for 5 years and you got a diploma. No, but we have to be able to like develop some patience and tolerant, or maybe someone's like playing the cards so enthusiastically and they're like elbowing us. And so in the same way, in our life of service, there will be awkward people. There will be persons who are serving in an awkward way. And they're making a disturbance, and maybe they're stepping on your toes, and maybe they're elbowing you, or maybe they're playing the cards right in your ear. So there will be persons like that who. They have it's like an immature kind of stage. They're really enthusiastic to do service, but they're doing it in a way that's like irritating or self-centered, not considering the whole, just thinking of themselves and their connection with the center. There will be persons like that. But we have to develop some magnanimity of heart. We have to have some patience and accommodate them, and try to do things in a way that inspires them to do better themselves. Like, we see sometimes little kids, they're really enthusiastic. They come in the kirtan and they're like playing the cartels like totally offbeat. They're banging the drum, But we're just like smiling to see that, And and we know that as they develop, as they get older, then naturally they'll develop more of a sense, for the proper beat, for the proper rhythm. We're not gonna shout at them, And so in the same way, persons like that, we will be patient with them and try to set the proper example ourselves. That is, in most cases, that is the best way to resolve situations like that.
On the other hand, we can consider we might be one of those to someone else. So.
Absolutely. Definitely. Yes, that is always a very sobering thought, that as we may be tolerating others, so many will be tolerating us without us realizing. It is a very sobering thought.
Can you speak a little bit about how the serving tendency is always there in the soul, and how everyone...
Why don't you say something, Didi? No, I spoke enough. I think it's good we hear from someone else. So.
I like that to remember that that our nature is to serve. It's our original religion or nature. But when we come into this plane and we become confused by the illusory environment, then that serving tendency is misdirected in so many ways, or it's forced in so many ways. We're serving we have to, serving means giving energy to, giving attention to. We have to serve our bodies when it has so many things we have to feed it, we have to wash it, we have to take care of it. Our parents are serving us, then we're serving our parents, then we're have to serve our teachers at school, then later we serve our boss at work, and we serve our government by paying them taxes. So that serving tendency is always happening. But then the sadhus are coming and they're saying, that serving tendency in this illusory environment, when we're doing it just in that way for our own interest or not, maybe we don't want to pay our taxes, but we have to pay the taxes in that way, it's just entangling us more. But when we can redirect that serving tendency and our natural inclination to serve to Guru Garanga, then all the other things become harmonized and become our path to, purification and ultimately seva, real seva, devotional service and love and affection to the Guru Garanga. So just remembering that it's natural to serve. We're always going to be serving someone, because a lot of times people hear this word service and they're like, well, I don't want to be a servant, because in the world, that's why we're here again, is because we wanted to come here and become masters and be the center and have the environment serve us. But it's a redirection of our consciousness to remember that, or to start to think that, no, I'm not the center, but my Lord is the center, and I want to give my energy in every way as possible. And all those other things may also, we still go to school, or we still have work, or we still do these different things, but with an adjustment of our consciousness of why we're doing it and who ultimately is the person we want to sacrifice and serve, then those things become purifying us rather than entangling us further in this illusory environment. So you could have said it much nicer. That's why I asked you to say it.
I was about to say.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
That reminds me of this thing that I was hearing Srila Prabhupada say in one of his talks, where he said, if you don't serve God, then you end up serving dog. And then he says, you see them walking down the street, and they're rich people, they're walking down the street with their dog, and they're waiting, and then when the dog defecates, they're going there with their, picking up the dogs.
And very happily.
Yeah, serving so nicely their dog. Yeah. So we're not interested in dog consciousness. We're interested in God consciousness. Yeah.
If this mic is good for passing around, we can leave this one on the
Sweet.
person who's speaking.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Jeevan and Didi, you want to share anything?
No, I was just going to say, that's a really beautiful point about that everyone is serving, because like you said, people go, oh, I don't want to serve, or, serve. It just sounds like in this material world, everybody wants to be in control. Something like the CEOs of these companies, there's so much intrigue within all of the big companies, for example, who's going to be the next CEO, and this person was moved out, and maybe somebody else can get moved up. But they're all still completely serving. They're completely serving their senses. Anybody have a toothache, you have to go to the dentist. You have to serve your body in so many ways. You have to serve your family. Even in these companies, even if you're a big timer, you have to make all kinds of, you have to serve different things for different different entities, and even like in politics, even if you see even like the president, the vice president, or so many senators, they have to also be serving their bodies, their families, their dogs, their birds, whatever they have, and to maintain, and also serving, they have to be serving, everybody's serving. I sort of, that's like a really good realization. So where can you serve for the real ultimate benefit, like Gurudev says, to do good for yourself and to do good for others. Yeah. So that's a really beautiful point.
Yeah. What's a good way to do that, Jivana? That's Jivana. So we hear that, and then we come to the temple and we see that so much service is happening around. The Lord is here in His form, and the devotees are preparing offerings. So much is going on, but then we have different places where we live, and we go back to our jobs, and we have our school that we go to. Like, how do we try to take that mood of service to the Lord and our Gurudev and the devotees with us when we're out and about?
Well, that's a really good question, and that like hits us at every moment all the time, right?
Yeah.
The only thing that just immediately comes to my mind, and I'm sure somebody else can say more, but it's that example that Gurudev or Guru Maharaj gives, or Srila Prabhupada, anyway, from our acharyas, that like the story of she's a very chaste wife, but she has an outside lover. And so she's always thinking of that other lover, but because she wants to keep that secret and she doesn't want anyone to know, she does her own responsibilities even better. And she does them really, really perfectly and everything, so nobody will suspect anything. So similarly, sometimes we're in our jobs or we're in our home or we're doing something that we have to do. Like you said, sometimes we have to do stuff we don't want to do. Sometimes we want to work, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we want to pay taxes, we don't. Sometimes we have to, load the dishwasher, dump the trash, whatever it is. But we do it always thinking of our real life, our real soul, which is Gurudev, the Vaishnavas, and Krishna, while we're in the midst of doing so many activities that have to be done. That's just one thing that came to my mind. Maybe somebody else has.
Jeeva is the perfect person to answer that. She's been working 9 to 5 for how many years?
I know exactly how not to do it.
And she's maintained such fire, dedication, giving so much energy.
God.
She's perfectly situated to answer that question. Did you have a question, Liam?
Yeah. So this is something that I've been wondering about for a couple of days now, actually, since I got here. And it's kind of about just because we were talking about how your soul is eternal. But I was wondering, at some point, this material universe has to come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
But does the spiritual plane continue on, and does my soul continue on? Or does that come to an end at the same time that the same universe comes to an end?
Good question.
Well, it's not exactly that things come to an end, but they're moving in cycles. There's a perpetual cycle of, creation, then existence for some time, and then annihilation, then again creation, and so this cycle is always going on. And also it's not that there's just one universe, but there's billions, no, what's the word I'm looking for? Innumerable.
Innumerable universe.
Innumerable. Infinite, that's the word, infinite.
Yes.
Infinite universe. Actually, in the West, people have grown up with this very basic Christian conception, right? There's heaven and hell and then earth, and that's pretty much it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very basic, actually. But if you look at what's presented in the Vedas, it's so developed. And you realize, actually, this is with all due respect, it's a very childish idea, what we find in in this general religious view. And actually, I've heard that in earlier biblical texts, there was something more developed.
Yeah.
But it got edited out at one point to keep it more simple or something. To scare people into thinking that this was their only chance. Anyway, that's a tangent. But it's not only that, first point, it's not only that there's this universe, there's infinite universes. And souls may, according to their karma, they can travel to any one of those universes and any plane of life and any species of life. And this cycle is always going on. It's not actually that there is a concrete beginning and a concrete end. Just like you can't really say, that spring comes first. It's a spring, and then summer, and then autumn, and then winter. You can't say one of them comes first. Everything's moving in a cycle. So it's like that. And then another point is that there's not just this mundane zone of existence, but there's also a spiritual plane of existence, which is eternally existent, which is not subject to destruction, decay. And then there's also a marginal zone, which is sometimes referred to as the Brahma Jyoti, which is a plane of non-differentiated consciousness. So there's the material zone, which is comprised of innumerable universes that are always moving through these cycles of creation and existence and destruction. Then there's this marginal zone of, it's like it's described in one place as a sheet of non-differentiated consciousness. And then beyond that, there is the eternal dynamic world of spiritual variegatedness. Just as there is this world of material variegatedness, so we are told there is a spiritual plane of variegatedness, which is ultimately where we aspire to enter. So when the soul, when a particular universe comes to its conclusion, and annihilation takes place, then all of the souls, they will be withdrawn from those bodies that they were in, and then they will be, I'm not able to go into so much elaborate detail about it because I don't have that type of knowledge, but they, according to their karma, they will be situated in another body, in another zone or universe or some other place. Things are always continuing. It's not that there's actually a concrete end. Does that answer your question? Okay. Want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something really simply, that the soul never dies. No, so you never get destroyed. That's clear. Yeah. So there's no concern of that you might die at some point. Just to answer very specifically to that question that you asked, that no, there is no destruction of the soul ever. This is very clearly stated by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita.
Krishna has the power to do that if he wants.
Yeah, of course, naturally.
But he doesn't.
Hare Krishna.
I think Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he mentioned that. He can do it if he wants.
Naturally.
But he doesn't.
And he does promise in the Bhagavad Gita that the soul is never destroyed.
Does that answer the heart of your question?
Yeah.
Well, does anyone else have a question or comment or anything? I know we're running out of time, but I'd like to mention one more thing in relation to what Brajamohini Didi was saying, that this nature to serve, it is very, very natural. It is very intrinsic. It is our natural mood. And it is our natural activity, our natural expression of self. And in one place, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, she describes the spirit of exploitation as a foreign force, as a type of intoxication. He says, a miscalculation surrounding its independence. So this mood that we have, I don't know what the word exploitation sounds like to general people, because I'm very in-house. I've grown up with this my whole life, so these words sound normal to me. I don't know what they sound like to everyone else. This word exploitation, maybe it sounds like a very nasty thing, but what it means is just that spirit of consumption, that spirit that we have to acquire, to collect, to consume, to own, to possess. This is what it means. So like we all experience, when we see something beautiful, we want to possess it, right? People spend literally millions of dollars for like some piece of art, for a painting, for a sculpture. There's something beautiful, they want to possess it. They want to own it. They want to put it on their cabinet and show their friends, I own this. This is mine, Or some beautiful woman, this is my wife, like they say, like trophy wife, right? We go to we go out, or like, you go on holiday and you're walking down the street, you want to buy souvenirs, the little Eiffel Tower, miniature Eiffel Tower. My Eiffel Tower. All of these things. Even like I caught myself recently. Like you're walking on the beach and some beautiful little stone, you want to take it.
Yes.
Some pretty little, you want to take it home with you and put it on your shelf or keep it in your bag. This is mine. If you think about it, it's actually like really weird. Like, if we see something beautiful, why shouldn't we just be happy that something's beautiful there? Like, why do we have to have it? Like, why does it?
Even if they want to kill it to take it home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a really deep point.
Yes.
People do that.
Yes.
They do.
People do that. But actually, so this is actually like a perverted tendency of our nature to serve. Really, the real nature of the soul, when it sees something beautiful, it thinks, I want to serve that. Whether it's a tree or the earth or a person, what to speak of God. We see something beautiful. Oh, let me serve that. How can I give something to that? This is the real nature of the soul. And this tendency to acquire, to possess, to control, this is a perversion. So this now we're learning how to enter into that mode of giving, of serving. And as we enter into it, we'll begin to realize it's actually so natural. In the beginning, it may be a little stilted. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he quoted one expression, I don't know where, maybe it's even in the Bible, I don't know, but, let a miser give ash. Like, maybe they don't want to give anything, let them at least give some ashes. But practice the hands to give, practice the hands to give. So we're not really able to do real service now, because we're like in this very mixed up condition, but we're like practicing, we're like that, stunted miser, like, let me just try and get into this movement of giving, and gradually, our hearts it'll become more of a fluid thing, and our hearts will begin to open more and more, and it will become more and more natural to us.
Sometimes I feel that the father will get some toy tools and give to the son when they're fixing the car.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, when the father will get some toy tools to give to the son so let's go fix the car. And then, oh yeah, you're doing so good. But meanwhile, the tools you have don't really actually do anything. At least it makes you feel like you're participating.
That's a very nice example.
And then the child learns how to actually do some work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like those little kids.
Great job.
I haven't met everyone here. What is your name?
My name is Darlene.
Darlene. Is this your first visit here?
I've been here a few times.
You've been here. Are you from the area, or you came?
I'm from the area.
Okay.
Nice.
And you're staying here for this Bhakti Yoga retreat.
I heard about it through a friend.
Okay.
Around.
Okay.
Nice.
Wonderful.
He said I-
Okay. Nice.
She has a lot of response. She's got 3 young kids, and so yeah, she could only come for 2 days.
Busy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. Darlene.
Darlene.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who is this behind you?
Priya.
Priya. Okay. And you a member of the community here?
No, I used to live in San Francisco. I used to come a lot.
Or? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're pretty familiar with everything. Okay. And are you staying here for
I'm
these
staying
days?
here for a few days.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. And what is your name?
My name is Alexander.
Alexander. Okay. And how are you here?
I was invited through a friend from the temple in LA.
Oh, is it with Vaidehi?
Yeah, Vaidehi.
Okay, nice, cool. What is your name again, sir?
Alexander.
Alexander. Okay, wonderful. And how is your experience so far?
It's just the way everything has been working in my life. I'm exactly where I need to be.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, we can all learn from you, Alexander. Okay, well, should we stop there? Or I guess they want to serve us breakfast. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Shama, do you want to chant? You're our leader here, actually.